Good morning, Bill. Nice to see you this morning. Early riser. Old Billy. It's almost sacrificial. Good morning, Mr. Marmars. How's the dog doing? How's your dog doing, Mr. Marmars? Good morning, Sir D. Ronnie Real. He's been making it pretty real lately. Ronnie, you became regular again. So nice to see you, Ron. Real nice to see Ronnie. 2 foot of snow. Mr. Marmars, what state are you in? Where are you? Are you in Massachusetts, if I remember? Good morning, Exception. Good morning, Okay, what is this? Urquhart Maddock. Urquhart Maddock. New Jersey, yeah. You guys are getting hammered. I heard. I was watching the weather report this morning. Basically, they shut your state down, right? Pretty much like from Delaware, New Jersey, New York, and even parts of Pennsylvania. Stay home. Stay home. Don't go out. Yep, that's what I heard. Basically, they're like travel zone. What do they call it? Travel. Basically, no travel warnings, right? Stay home unless you have a real reason to be out. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Derek. Good morning, RX. Hope you're staying ahead of the storms when you're on the road, RX. Good morning, Cyber Jolie. Are you guys blizzarding in Philadelphia? Ronnie Real's been here. ER Karma Duck. I gotcha. I didn't read it that way. That's a neat word. That's a neat name. I gotcha. ER Karma. Gotcha. Cleanie. You're hammered in New York. Oh yeah. You got to be under at least 2 feet of snow, right? And it's not just the snow, but it's the wind. Yep. And then the worry about power outages. We have such a weak power grid here at this area of Detroit that I live in, that every time it gets really inclement, I'm worried about our power. I've lost power 2 times this year. You would think that... Good morning, Harry K. Good morning, Derek. Who else did? Cleanie and Nerdster. Good morning, nerds. Good morning, Nerdster. Good morning, Aaron. Aaron, you've probably got a little bit of snow going there too, huh? Kimberly, good morning. Oh, Cleanie, not that bad. Try being in New Jersey right now. Try Delaware. Down where my sister lives. She's in the Baltimore, Washington corridor. Slammed. This is the first time since 2019 that they told the New York City school kids stay home. The kids got a snow day. Oh, it's the best thing in the world when you're a kid. Snow baby snow. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to one and to all. And to all a good night. Good morning, everybody. Right, Mr. Marmars? You wake up and look out the window. Is there any way I can get out of school today? Up to my... Oh, what's this now? Is that right, Billy D? You're going to have a surgery there, an amputation? Well, it looks like you've got yourself, at least your humor is... Your attitude seems to be wonderful, but boy... That's rough, Bill. Sorry about that, my friend. Yeah. We'll always be here for you, Bill. And you know me personally. I hope you know personally if you ever need anything in the plant medicine world that Pops has, you reach out to me. And what's mine is yours. Okay? What's mine is yours. There you go. Good attitude due to the mushies. Yeah. Remember, okay, so when you get running short on the mushies, I need to know about it. Speaking of barn owls, Ronnie, the great picture on Niffer's IG page, they have an owl in a tree in their backyard. An owl is my spirit animal. Of course, Bill. An owl is my spirit animal. Now you look it up, and it doesn't sound like a very good spirit animal. I was reading about it recently. I was like, let me look up what it means if you call an owl your spirit animal. And some people don't think an owl is a very good spirit animal, but I think I do. I love owls. I told you guys the story about my owl Solomon. Right, Laura? Owls are a great spirit animal, I think. Let me look that up real quick. See what I have to say. What it has to say. Owl as a spirit animal. Oh, that's not. Oh, okay. Here's the part that I thought it was. Oh, geez, I didn't mean. Okay, go back, Pops. The owl spirit animal embodies profound wisdom, intuition, and Pops, you are just wrecking it this morning. Okay, let me start over. The owl spirit animal embodies profound wisdom, intuition, and the ability to see through deception and darkness, often acting as a messenger between the spiritual and physical worlds. Associated with the night, it represents clairvoyance, deep observation, and the unveiling of hidden truths or character or secrets. Intuition, owl energy helps you trust your inner voice and see beyond surface level illusions to find the true reality. I guess this is mine. I love this owl. Wisdom and knowledge, often considered a teacher of ancient hidden wisdoms and secrets. This lines up so much with what our program is going to be about today. Wait for it. Adaptability in darkness represents the ability to navigate through challenging, dark times in life with clarity. Hey, let's do spirit animals this week. We'll talk about spirit animals this week. Today's owl reflects a need for quiet contemplation, introspection, and listening before acting. Thank you, Neff. I want to be an owl. Acts as a guide through life transitions and changes. What's the owl's symbolism across culture? In Greek mythology, the owl is associated with Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategy. In Native American traditions, owls are viewed as protectors of the spirit and guides to the afterlife. Omens, while sometimes feared as a harbinger of death, Many cultures also interpret them as symbols of transition or profound change. No wonder I'm an owl. Embrace the night. Spend time in quiet reflection during the evening or nighttime. That's when I do my studying, to tap into the owl's energy. Practice stillness. Develop your intuition through meditation and journaling and mindful, silent observation. Pay close attention to your inner voice and gut feelings in confusing situations. If the owl is your totem, you are likely a deeply intuitive, observant person who values truth and is not afraid to explore the mysteries of life. That's it. Pops is an owl. That's it. That's my spirit animal. No wonder I'm literally, probably the first time I've read that. I hope you feel better, Wazi. I really hadn't read all of that. I'm reading an AI version of Owl as a Spirit Animal. Wow. That's kind of resonating with old Paparoo. Good morning. Whoo! 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 I want to be an owl. I like owls. I'm more than I like them. I love owls. I told you guys the story about the owl that I owned. Oh, what's that all about? Okay. Badgie, good morning, Badgie. Good morning, Badge. It's good to see the Badgester here. Okay, what spirit animal? Start saying your spirit animal, and the first spirit animal I see on here that is mentioned 3 times, it will be the spirit animal we discuss tomorrow morning. Go. What's your spirit animal? And I'm looking at the comments, and we're gonna talk about spirit animals this week. The first animal I see appear 3 times in my comment section. We have a wolf and we have a bear. And we have owls, we have hummingbirds, we have hawks and otters and koalas. So that's 2 bears. I'm going to call those, we have a bear and a koala. Those are 2 bears. Okay? And then Mr. Marmars has to go and be a tardigrade. A cat. Okay? Honey badger, a sloth, notorious. And Nerdy's just cheating and mentioning it 3 times all in one. A tanuki. What is a tanuki? I'm not familiar with a tanuki. Come on. I want to get a popular one that is more than one of you. We're going to do spirit animal just as we start the show for this week. Which one are we going to do? What's the spirit animal I should discuss tomorrow? We're looking for audience participation. You guys set the agenda on the spirit animal. We have 2 deers now. 2 deer so far. 2 deers and 2 bears. Good morning, Jeremiah. 2 deers and 2 bears. Anybody else want to dive in and be a deer or a bear? But don't just be one. What do you really truly... Granny's gone deer as well. So deer tomorrow. Deer tomorrow. Let me make a note of that. Excuse me. The world's a beautiful place. It's interesting because I was going to have a steer tomorrow. I just wrote it down. I'll be checking it out tonight, so I'll be ready tomorrow. Won't be so off the cuff. extemporaneous, as they call it. Okay? Nerdy says bears are basically oversized doggos. That's cute. Listen, don't forget to Cyber Jolie has morphed into a deer on a couple of her journeys. Interesting. Listen, don't forget to go to your chat options and press all chat if you're stuck on top chat, so you can see all of the chats. Okay? So go to your chat options and change it to all chat. All chat, yeah, versus top chat. Mine automatically defaults to top chat when I turn it on, so I have to remember to go to all chat. So good morning to everybody I did not say good morning to personally this morning. Okay? Today's going to be a little bit different if it's okay with you guys. Usually I start out with an article or two, maybe some rando factos, maybe, we haven't done jokes lately. I need to get back to that. Do some Chuck Norris jokes. Yeah. We have to, Chuck Norris? Yeah. We have to do some of those, or maybe dumb dad jokes, something like that. Get a little bit of giggle going in the morning. But I'm going to do something a little different this morning. Some of you are going to yawn. Some of you are going to be distracted and not as interested as I am. But you know what? I'm doing it anyways. Okay? I'm going to do this one anyways. What I'm about to do. I've been doing a lot of studying. And mostly on the Tao Te Ching. I'm fascinated by the work, the writings of Lao Tzu. So this weekend I did some real deep diving about the personage of Lao Tzu himself. And there is even a very strong, extremely strong historical possibility that in his 80s, Lao Tzu, who was known as the keeper of the records of one of the provinces in China, that was his job, basically like the state librarian, right? And then there's a whole historical context to where he basically lost his job, not through any fault of his own, but because when the king died, he left his kingdom to two of his sons, the princes, and as usual, in the human condition, the brothers didn't agree, and they both wanted to be in charge, and there was all the political infighting that goes on, even back then, 2,500 years ago. And in the course of that, he lost his job, and he moved out of that province to another province. It's a long story, but it's a beautiful story. But in his 80s, and his name may not have been Lao Tzu either, by the way. There are remaining Chinese texts that say his name was actually Ehr, E-H-R, which translated in Chinese to ear. And as he got older, they called him the long ear, which means the wise one in Chinese. It translates to the wise one. There's, in his 80s, there's very, very strong proof that he met Confucius, that the two of them met. And he taught Confucius some of the things that we hear as Confucius says, or a direct relation to some of the things that he learned from Lao Tzu, the long ear, the old master. And Confucius was in his mid-30s at the time. So we're talking about an 80-plus-year-old fella meeting a younger, up-and-coming sage, as it were, and there was, between the two of them, correspondence and direct teaching, direct sharing of ideas. Pretty cool. Now this isn't for everybody. I understand that, and you didn't necessarily turn on this morning to have a history channel. So I feel like apologizing, but I'm not going to. Today I don't want to apologize. I just want to download some information that I took in, and I hope that it strikes a chord with someone somewhere. So, excuse me. Pop's History Channel, right, Aaron? Let me tell you. Dr. Dr. Wayne Dyer is the book that we typically are reading an interpretation of the Tao Te Ching out of. Now let's remember that, hold on a second here. Let's remember that when it was originally written, the Tao Te Ching, today we see it broken up into 81 verses. It wasn't always so. There are interpretations of the Tao Te Ching that are broken up into 68 verses. And that was earlier in the Chinese translations. Chinese is not an easy language to translate, especially ancient Chinese, because even the characters that represent words aren't really words in Chinese as much as thoughts. Okay? And it was written when Lao Tzu, we're going to call him Lao Tzu or the Long Ear, when he originally wrote it, he wrote it all in one manuscript on silk. He wrote it on silk. And there are copies of it that have been found around the world in caves and different places. And you'll see sometimes the copy that is found has a slightly different interpretation than a previous found copy. Okay? And when it's written in Chinese, Lao Tzu wrote it, he didn't break it up into verses. It was all one book. We even call it a book. Back then it would have been more called a manuscript. Okay? Here's an example of what it looked like. That's a silk that was found in a cave in 1911. And it's written like that. And now the experts are all going to sit around and try to figure out how to break that down into a more manageable sections. And not everybody that interprets it agrees on the way it's interpreted. It much like the Dead Sea Scrolls, nerdy, very much like that. These really important manuscripts that were written by the rare scribe, they would find a way, they would put them in pots, ceramic pots, these manuscripts, and they would seal them, and they would hide them away in a cave. Okay? One second. I'll maybe hit on this a little bit more later this week. I'm going to break it down a little bit more for us. But that's correct, Cleany. Interpretation is always biased by the interpreter. That's true. You can't help it. you end up with your own interpretation. And just as we are reading one of the interpretations here, our brain's interpreting it a certain way that really clicks and makes it make sense for us, whatever that particular passage is. Okay? Well, scholars agree to this, that the second most interpreted and rewritten book in the world is the Tao Te Ching. The Bhagavad Gita is third. The first, I think most of us will know, is the Bible. The most interpreted and rewritten book in the world. Most published in the world. Tao Te Ching is number 2 in the world. Okay? And there are currently floating around out there, authorized, where it's pretty darn close to, we think, the original Chinese script, over 100 versions of the Tao Te Ching. And we've been pretty much sticking with this one particular version that comes to us through Dr. Wayne Dyer, who is a very accomplished Chinese scholar, along with other things, other accomplishments of his. But what Dr. Dyer did, the fellow that we typically are reading the interpretation of, is he has gathered, according to him, 10 of what he considered the 10 most significant for him versions of the Tao Te Ching, and then he's distilled it down. Let me tell you in his own words. In all my readings on the origins of the Tao Te Ching, is this interesting to you guys? I'm serious. I hope that this is interesting. Okay? I am fascinated by scholarship. It's a thing that you do silently, and your brain is cogitating. And you're just learning and grasping and intaking more and more information. And then what we do with that information is so key. Information, positive information like this is changing my life. Nerdy, I'm sorry that you have to go. I'm sorry. You have a wonderful day, you good friend of mine. So let's see. In all my readings on the origins of the Tao Te Ching, I never found a definitive historical record of its writing. Yet today it survives in thousands of versions in virtually every language. In fact, after reading this classic text one morning, and then taking in a different interpretation in the afternoon, I was hooked. So am I. I ordered more translations, 5 of which were quite old, and 5 of which were more modern. Since neither Lao Tzu nor the origins of his verses are historically certain, I was fascinated by the way the 5,000 characters, there's 5,000 characters in the manuscript, were interpreted by scholars in the editions I studied, especially when you consider that many of these ancient Chinese symbols are no longer in use, and they invite differing translations themselves. I then felt called to write an essay for each verse that showed its valuable wisdom to the 21st century. From those 10 translations that I'd gone over, I pieced together the 81 passages of the Tao Te Ching based on how they resonated with me. This book is my personal interpretation of the Tao, each verse of which gave me insight into life and nature. As you read on, know that these pages were pasted together from what I personally felt were the most useful aspects of these 10 different translations. I studied, and I apologize for any exclusions or inclusions that don't seem to be a perfect fit. Hold up. One of the many gifts of the Tao Te Ching, I agree with this, is its mind-stretching quality. Especially in the way that Lao Tzu uses irony and paradox to get you to look at life. If you think that being forceful is the appropriate response, Lao Tzu urges you to see the value in being humble. If action seems called for, he asks you to consider non-action. If you feel that grasping will help you acquire what you need or want, he counsels you to let go and be patient. So Pops is sort of on a mission. I'm gonna do it. I won't. You guys won't be bothered or burdened by this all the time, every day. But I'm doing the same now. I've grabbed 5 of the most famous quote-unquote translations in the modern English language, and I'm starting to read them, and I'm going to go on a mission, a personal spiritual mission, of translating it myself. Now, I don't know the Chinese, but I'm going to actually start studying a little Chinese. I'll never be, without amazing scholarship, I'll never be able to translate ancient Chinese, nor will I presume to. But I can look at different people's interpretations and then kind of come up with one of my own based off of all of that group of them. And just the act of doing that is going to align me with the Te part of Tao Te Ching, which is the doing part. Not just sitting around talking, but also doing. Does any of that make sense to you guys? So, and I'm not publishing it, I'm not gonna burden, it's a personal little journal I'm gonna have, that I'm gonna rewrite the verses for myself with the use of these other interpretations to bring myself to a deeper understanding. Okay? The reason that I picked today to be the day to sort of share all of this with you guys, put the words into action, Shane. The reason I picked today to share this idea with you guys is because the verse that we're going to cover today is considered probably the most famous or well-known verse in all of the 81 passages. Yay! So guess what we're going to do today, if it's okay with you guys? What is this? How's this sound to you guys? What if I read you 4 different interpretations of today's verse? And then you'll hear a variety of the interpretations, and it'll sort of start working in your own brain, going, wow, I get it when that guy writes it. I get it when that guy, oh, that part and each person will bring their own personality, their own bias. They'll bring their own comprehension to the table, and we get to have this big, huge meal. Yeah? What do you guys think? Give me 5 people that are at least interested. And again, we won't do this to you all the time. But let's do it today. So today's going to be spent a deep dive on that particular verse. Okay? Joey D's is saying, Pops, you just drive. Okay. Let's do it. Why is today's verse so popular? This is probably the best known verse of the Tao Te Ching. In fact, the opening 2 lines are so popular that they've almost become a cliche. Nevertheless, the passage's essential message is little understood and rarely practiced. Okay? Hags, you're adorable. The 56th verse, according to Dr. Dyer, those who know do not talk. Those who talk do not know. You ever heard anything close to that before? It's virtually a cliche now. Those who know do not talk. Those who talk do not know. Block all the passages. Close your mouth. Cordon off your senses. Blunt your sharpness. Untie your knots. Soften your glare. Settle your dust. This is the primal union, or the secret embrace. One who knows this secret is not moved by attachment or aversion, swayed by profit or loss, nor touched by honor or disgrace. He is far beyond the cares of men, yet comes to hold the dearest places in their hearts. This, therefore, is the highest state of man. Those who know do not talk. Those who talk do not know. That's Dr. Dyer's version. Okay? Let's see what Red Pine has to say. Red Pine's a fascinating fellow. Red Pine's an American. He's in his probably 80s now. And he moved to China. And he started studying Chinese in China. And then he moved from there. He became a Buddhist monk. And spent years and years of studying the Tao Te Ching, along with other Buddhist poetry and stuff like that. And then he, in his later years, moved back to the United States. I think he lives in like Montana. And he thought I had a picture of him here. I don't. He's adorable. Looks like an old Grizzly Adams. Here's his translation. His Chinese name is Red Pine, and he's often considered probably one of America's, United States, America, probably one of our greatest ancient Chinese scholars. Here's how he interprets the Tao Te Ching, the 56th verse. Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. Seal the opening. Close the gate. Dull the edge. Untie the tangle. Soften the light and join the dust. This is called the dark union. It can't be embraced. It can't be helped. It can't be harmed. It can't be exalted. It can't be debased. Thus does the world exalt it. We're going to jump back to him here in a minute. I'm going to read you a third version. Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. Close your mouth. Blunt your sharpness. Untie your knots. Soften your glare. Settle your dust. This is the primal identity. Be like the Tao. It can't be approached or withdrawn from, benefited or harmed, honored or brought into disgrace. It gives itself up continually. That is why it endures. That's Stephen Mitchell. And we're going to end it with a woman scholar's point of view. Her name is Ursula Le Guin. Ursula translated it like this: who knows doesn't talk. Who talks doesn't know. Closing the openings, shutting doors, blunting edge, loosening bond, dimming light. Be one with dust of the way, so you come to the same deep sameness. Then you can't be controlled by love or by rejection. You can't be controlled by profit or by loss. You can't be controlled by praise or humiliation. Then you have honor under heaven. 4 different versions. Pretty close, but you're going to hear the differences. Did you guys appreciate that? Did you guys appreciate that? 4 different points of view, looking at the same object, but through different lenses of experience. And it kind of brings a fullness to something rather than just one side. I personally just, and now I get to write my own. I can't steer far from the text, but I can interject some of my own lens. Lao Tzu is calling us to live the highest state of silent knowing. That place deep within you that can't be communicated to others. Consequently, you might want to change your thinking about whom you consider to be wise or learned. Persuasive speakers with a good command of language, who are forceful in their pronouncements and confident in their point of view, are generally considered to have superior knowledge. But Lao Tzu suggests precisely the opposite is true. Those who talk, he says, aren't living from the place of silent knowing, so they do not know. You know who I think of when I hear that? I apologize to those that this may offend, but I look at the televangelists espousing. They've got the beautiful suits on and they can speak and they can draw you in with their words, and then they get in their limousines. They take your money and they get in their limousines and they drive home. Boy, they can persuade you. But what are they persuading us about? How to give them money? Do they really know? Did Pops? As you modify the way you look at this presumption, we'll see. We also, that's a neat nugget of information there, nerds. Okay? As you modify the way you look at this, you'll see several differences in the way your world appears. First, you'll note that those who are compelled to pontificate and persuade, I think politicians line up in this area too. Those who pontificate and persuade are almost always tied to an attachment of some kind. Perhaps it's to their point of view, to being right, to winning, or to profiting in some way. And the more talking they do, the more they appear to be swayed by such attachments. The second thing you'll notice takes place within you. You begin to see your inclination and desire to persuade and convince others. Guilty. I want you to know I'm not here to persuade anybody that what I'm saying is true for you. I'm sharing what I'm learning. That's it. I ask nothing back from you. I don't ask for your agreement. I don't ask for your money. I don't ask for your anything. I hope you get enlightened. I hope, if nothing else, it opens up another point of view that you've never considered before. I know that for me personally, my worldview is changing. I no longer want to live in the world that was programmed into me. I want to live in the simplest possible way because it works for me. My mental health is encouraged by that. The depression goes away. The anxiety goes away. That even triggered, the being triggered. I was an easily triggered man. The triggers have disappeared. I'm just sharing with you empirically, meaning my personal experience. And if it resonates, then I feel like I'm doing a holy thing. Then you begin to listen more attentively, finding yourself in the secret embrace, or the primal union that Lao Tzu describes. Your need to be a knowledgeable or dominant person is replaced by the deep realization that it's all irrelevant. And you lose interest in seeking approval. That's probably one of my biggest benefits. My life was spent, I've shared this with you guys, seeking approval. From a damaged child, I was constantly seeking approval. Told you guys this 100 times. My older sister, she would tell me, you let everybody else keep your score. And I did. I didn't know how to keep my own score. And when I finally got it, you're talking a 60-year-old man in his third life. My first 30 years were my first life. 30 to 60 was my second life. I'm now 8 years into my third life. I don't need approval. And the only reason I care for likes, the only reason is because YouTube's algorithm says the more likes, the more we'll send this out for viewing. And I want the world to have a new perspective. That's why we do this. I also love the community that we're developed and the kindness and goodness that is exhibited here. I bathe in it daily. You lose interest in seeking approval. Give me 5 people that would like to, even if you're on the path of losing interest in seeking approval, would you like to lose more interest in seeking approval in your life? Is that something that is important to you? Is that something you can find value in? Losing interest in seeking approval. I'm looking for comments. Shane says seeking approval is exhausting. It is. And then you become something that's even a shadow of yourself. You morph into something that's not even the true essence of who you are. For their approval? So you can line up with the rest of Madison Avenue and all the billboards? So you can look like the masses? Be interested in seeking less approval. Living in silent knowing becomes the process. Herbie, I've only started seeking approval from myself. Kim, seeking approval requires paying too much attention to what others think of. It's true. I wish the world had taught us this instead. Run around, don't seek approval. Be yourself. Be your true inner self. Let us see that. Let us all get together and be ourselves without having to approve of one another. Living in silent knowing becomes the process that casts your existence in a completely different light. You have less of an edge. You feel settled. You're softer. And you're more centered. Boy, could Pops be strident back in his day. Boy, could he know it all. And boy, did he try to persuade you with words. You know what's more persuasive today? Actions. As you change how you think about what it means to be intelligent and wise, you'll come into contact with the irony that sums up this wonderful, paradoxical section of the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu says that the sage who lives by the Tao is far beyond the care of men, yet holds the dearest place in his heart. I'd sum it up this way. Those who care the least about approval seem to receive it the most. Could you agree with that? Think about the people that you like hanging around with. Think about the people that are attractive to you. They're not people that are trying to persuade you to them. Force your approval. Those who care the least about approval seem to receive it the most. My sister was trying to tell me that. Kimberly says the cool kids aren't trying to impress others. It's true. You look at the cool kid, it's like that kid's just doing it because that's who he is. And you hang around him. Since such individuals aren't concerned with how they're perceived, either honorably or in disgrace, they don't seek praise or run from it. While their calm wisdom may make them appear to be aloof, they actually end up gaining the respect of everybody. Mhm. Think of the best bosses you've ever had. Think of the best employees you as a boss have ever had. Think of the real leaders on the sports teams you've been on. Think of the people that you've been attracted to in your life. It's generally not the blowhard. It's generally not the grasper for attention. It's generally not the guy with the lamp on his head at the party. Guilty. I can't tell you how many parties I went to I had to wear the lampshade. I said, oh God, there's that guy again. Who invited him? I thought we agreed we weren't going to invite that guy again. Derek Anderson. The fakes fade. Oh, that's good. You have this place of silent knowing within you right now. The following is what Lao Tzu suggests for adopting this paradoxical language. Block all the passages. Get honest with yourself about wanting to win the favor of others. Moment to breathe, moment to think. I don't do this for the approval of others. I don't. I believe this message so strongly, I'm just shouting it from the rooftop, silently. Those of you that would have known the old Pops and know who I am today would understand how the words that I'm reading have altered my life, simplified it, made me a complete new being. You want to talk about being born again? Most major religions all talk about some transformation of being born again. This is what they speak of. Eschewing the ways of the world and pursuing holiness. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You'll never succeed droning on and on. Remember that those who talk do not know. Or as one translation of this verse simply states, shut your mouth. I'm just teaching. I'm not preaching. I'm just sharing. I'm not persuading. I promise you. Well, Pops, aren't you just a big mouth talker every morning? If you think so. If that's what you think, yeah. Or, Pops, aren't you just teaching what you've learned and what you studied? I hope so. Silence is your evidence of inner knowing. Talking to convince others actually says more about your need to be right than their need to hear what you have to say. Ding. Rather than trying to persuade others, just be quiet. You're getting ready to get into that persuade mode. Check yourself. You already know the truth. Your job isn't to be the custodian of their life. Be happy to share what you know at the appropriate time and place, like here. I can guarantee you I don't spend the rest of my day trying to persuade, I don't spend any of it trying to persuade anybody or take anything from anybody. I make that a mission. But I also don't spend the rest of my day talking for an hour straight. Rather than trying to persuade others, keep quiet. Just enjoy the deep satisfaction of inner awareness. Try it. No, Joe. I think that's exactly what Lao Tzu is saying. We aren't obligated to share. Because usually if you're feeling an obligation, that's a force. And we're asked to avoid being forced. Blunt your sharpness. This is in the verses. What does that mean? Do this by listening to yourself before you let your judgments attack someone else. A better course of action is just to listen. And then silently offer loving compassion to both yourself and to the other person. That's what it means to blunt your sharpness. Untie your knots. Detach from what keeps you tied to worldly problems. Untie the knots that bind you to a life that's dedicated to showing profit and demonstrating victory, and replace them with silently contemplating wisdom and holiness in the secret embrace. Soften your glare. Notice when you need to be right is glaringly obvious. And let the soft underside of your being replace your rigid stance. Your impulse to glower at external events is alerting you that you're out of touch with your silent inner knowing. Something I'm working on, glowering at politicians. Saying negative things about them. They are humans just like I am. Every time I say a negative thing about somebody, every time I text and then every time I meme, every time I even thumbs up somebody else's, I'm literally sending the exact opposite of what I'm telling them to send to me. I want them to send me positive energy, so I'm going to be negative about them. Politicians need our compassion. They need our... Imagine if they were bathed in compassion instead of bathed in judgment. How would they perform? They might start actually being compassionate themselves. Oh, do you believe that's possible? I do. I believe it to the point I can't add to the negativity. Don't send me a reel or some kind of an IG post or something that has something negative about a politician in it. I won't reply. I used to. Oh, a little heart, a little thumbs up, a little I agree. I don't want to do that anymore. Now that I know, I can be silent and offer them loving compassion instead. I don't want to be on that wheel that we all spin around on. Well, they're idiots. Well, they're this or they're that. You know what they are? They're a human being. They haven't reached the level of awareness that I feel like I'm going towards. It's not my job. My job's to be silent and be compassionate. And to not expose them to another ray, one more atom of negativity, to be sent to them through the cosmos because I'm right. I know what I think already. I already know, silently, inside, about that situation. I know that it's not okay to drop a bomb on someone. I know that it's not okay to have babies starve. I know that it's not okay to have an illiteracy level that exists today. I know all of these things. But to smash my thoughts into the faces of others does not help the situation. It increases it. Soften your glare, Pops. Soften your glare. Settle your dust. What does that mean? People, that's good at mind diet. What the brain eats from the mouth. Settle your dust. What does that mean? It means don't kick it up in the first place. Realize your inclination to stir up dust. We are not naturally, the world has taught us to stir up dust. All around us. Over the least little thing. Somebody zooms by you, honks at you. Stir up dust, buddy. There are so many ways in our lives that we stir up dust. Has that ever helped? Has it ever once helped? Ever, ever, ever? Lao Tzu would tell us no. Realize your inclination to stir up dust. When you're getting ready to diatribe or erupt and tell others how they ought to be behaving. Stop in the middle of pounding the table or angrily screaming and observe yourself. I think about this, if I'd have only known these things in my marriage, I would have never had to argue. I would have never had to fight. I would have never had to go to bed without peace in my home. But instead, my home was a living argument. Dust stir extraordinaire. Think about your house, your home, your family. Are you stirring up dust there? Do you scream angrily? Do you pound the table, especially when you don't get what you want? Probably, because you're human. And you're modeling what you were taught. That's how your parents behaved. That's how the elders behaved. That's how your teachers behaved. Then they'd say, well, then that's normal. This is what we do. Imagine if you grew up in a home that never stirred up dust. You would be less likely to stir up dust yourself, wouldn't you? Do you want your children to be stirrers of dust? Then go ahead, stir it up. Do you want your children to be models of peace and wisdom and be attractive to their fellows? Then you know how to behave. Your emotions are like waves of the ocean. Learn to watch them and return them to a calmness across the whole surface. You feel the waves coming. Don't reply. Don't respond. Observe and eliminate the dust. How does this translate to today? What did Granny say? Oh, that's cute. He wants his kids to be a flow hood. I like it. I love it. How does this translate to today? And I'll be done. Spend an hour, a day, a week, or a month practicing not giving unsolicited advice. Stop yourself for an instant and call upon your silent knowing. Ask a question rather than giving advice or citing an example from your life. And then just listen to yourself and to the other person. Lao Tzu would tell us that that's the highest state of man. That's how he ends the verse, isn't it? This, therefore, is the highest state of man. Those who know do not talk. Those who talk do not know. Well, we've got a bundle full this morning, didn't we? We got all kinds of information out this morning. Again, I won't read 4 versions of every passage all the time. But today's verse is a very, very powerful verse. It's considered one of the singularly most popular verses in the Tao Te Ching. And so I wanted to hit it from quite a few different angles and talk to you about where I'm at in my study process. Okay? That's what today's about. Sharing. Not persuading. Not dominating. Not forcing. Not pushing. Not striving. Practicing. Lots of silent practice. What do we practice? We practice 4 agreements that are so simple. They're basically the foundation. They're found in all of these verses. Be impeccable with your word. That's a lot to do with don't stir up dust. Don't take things personal. That has a lot to do with don't glare. Don't be glaring. Don't glower at people. Third agreement. Make no assumptions. Have no expectations. That has to do with silent knowing. And all of them encompassed in practice by doing your best, the 4th agreement. It's beautiful stuff. Life changing. People that are practicing are changing their lives. We can change lives one life at a time. And in some cases, those of you that are privileged and blessed enough to have a household full of people you live with, you get to be a model in your home. With the privilege of helping people change their life. What an inordinate privilege. For that, every day should bring gratitude. Thank you for listening today. I appreciate you guys to the bottom of my being. Know that I am doing the best. The 4th agreement, do my best to practice what I am teaching here. Hang around. You'll notice the old man's changing. That old dude, he's changing. It's never, ever too late to change. Let me scroll you guys out of here. Thank you again. From the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. And I love the opportunity that you give me to share. I am a blessed man. Jesus Christ in Australia, nice of you to be here. Herbie, there's the Herbie Von Warby Kebab. And Joey D's. Great to see you, Joe. Hope your son's doing well. Sarah Bear is telling us don't miss the point here. Here's my favorite stuffed animal. Greetings, hoping Jolie is blessed today. Let me hold quickly. Now we're going to run a little long, but excuse me. I should have mentioned this earlier. Hold on. Last week, a week and a half or so ago, we, as a group, did our best to help Jolie's little pup, Kimber. We put a little drive together, put a couple of dollars together, sent it over to her to help her with some vet situations and things like that. And I want to tell you guys how wonderful you are for doing that. I already told you when you did it, but do you want to see some of the fruits of your labor? This right here is a meal that Kimber just had. She writes, good news about Kimber's health. She's recovering her appetite and is chowing down. Another little meal that she's had. A Little baby's starting to eat. Can you imagine how good that must feel as the mom of the pup? My baby's feeling better. You guys helped that. One little help at a time. You deserve to know that. Kimber. There's Kimmy. Now, Mom admits, she said she's looking a little shaggy. Kimber's looking a little shags. I think she looks great. Do you know how grateful Kimber must be? And her mom? Thank you guys. I mean that. We made a difference. And it didn't hurt anybody. I don't think anybody lost a lot. One less cheeseburger this month, so that could happen. Kind of worth it, huh? Thank you guys for that. Greenie and Cyber Jolie. I'm very, very glad for that, Cybes. Cyber Jolie Cleaning, my good friend. Trenty the Trenty Trenterson. Hags, you have a wonderful day, my good, good friend. Can't wait to see you in April. Jesus Christ, an exception's going to have an exceptional day. Mr. Phillips. Mellow Yamakamon. Never, what a fantastic conversation today. Thank you. I hope it wasn't boring. HB. There's my HBster. Who else? Let me scroll. Excuse me. Kimberly Jolie. Kimberly, the Golden Bolden. I love Kim to death. Let's see, who else do we have? The Star. The Star is still here and shining. Very, very glad that the Star continues to shine here. Okay, Cyber Jolie says Kimber loves Pops and the crew. Well, we love Kimber. Ronnie Real, keeping it real, always keeping it real. Nipper thinks it is worth it. Wazzy's asking us all to have a great day and sending us much love. Sarah Bear and HB and Viva Vibes, that's Paige. I love Paige. And then we've got FIFO. Mr. FIFO. Okay, Pops, you ran long again. Here you go telling people to be quiet and you can't stop. I know, I can't. I love you guys. Let's be good and kind on this planet. Let's send compassion and goodness and stop the negativity. Just don't even reply to the stuff that's going to come at us. Not even the simple little, little heart or a thumb or something. If it's negative, it's negative. Avoid it. You already silently know your truth. Live there. Bring peace to the planet. Pops. Peace. Out.